It has been a minute or two since I've talked about an article, well, from Martin Armstrong, Armstrong Economics. But it's also been a minute or two before I had to get up on the case of little tiny pension problem. You might have heard of this one, CalPERS, California's pension system. Oh, let that damn thing slide off the face of the earth. Well, not with my people on there. Any of y'all from Cali, get on out of there. No, you don't want people getting hurt. I'm just kidding. But seriously, give these liberals something and look what they do with it. They destroy everything. Look at this. The largest public pension fund in the United States is the California Public Employees Retirement System, or CalPERS. For civil servants, California is in a state of very serious insolvency. We strongly advise our clients to get out before it's too late. I have been warning that CalPERS was on the verge of insolvency. I have warned that they were secretly lobbying Congress to seize all 401k private pensions and hand it to them to be managed. Mingling private money with the public would enable them to hold off insolvency a little bit longer. Of course, CalPERS cannot manage the money they do have, so why should anyone expect them to score a different performance with private money? Indeed, they would just rob private citizens to pay the pensions of state employees and politicians. When's the last time you heard me say how much I love cryptocurrency? I was just talking to the guys from Cloak, which you'll probably see that video first. Then you're going to see this one. And after I stopped recording, we had a little chat, as I always do with everybody. And I'm like, we're talking about cryptos. And I'm like, these crypto wallets, it's kind of like, for example, whether it's your hardware wallet or Exodus or whatever, that's your bank and you own it. And all those cryptos, those are your accounts. Those are all your separate accounts. And you don't have to worry about them being FDIC insured. And, well, we've got all these loans out there and they're non-performing loans. No, it's like you're the bank. Your money's chock full of, or your bank's chock full of money, cryptos, and they're all yours. You have nothing to worry about. Right? You don't have these guys lobbying Congress. Let's get the private cryptocurrency from people. No. They will go after the retirements. That's what they always do. That's how this always ends. Look in history, open your history books if you still got some lying around, so to speak. This is what they do. And usually they'll get it past Congress because they'll lobby. Lobby means give money to certain Congress members. They get it passed. The Congress doesn't care, isn't looking into it. They'll be fine. Then a big crisis will happen. We got to do another bailout. We've got to bail out the CalPERS pension system, Oh, and they had the 401ks tied to it too. We got to bail that out too. CalPERS has been making investments to be politically correct with the environment rather than looking at projects that are economically based. Then CalPERS has been desperate to cover this, and he links to it. So I'll link this website to you, of course. Then CalPERS has been desperate to cover this and other facts up to deny the public any transparency. Then, because stocks they thought were overpriced last year, they moved to bonds, buying right into the bond bubble. Clearly, California's economy peaked right on target, which he links again to his own articles. And ever since, there has been a steady migration of residents out of the state. I'm trying to tell you, I've been begging some of y'all, get the hell out of that place. But my job pays so well. I know, but damn. Just telling you. Especially if you have any kind of pension. CalPERS or not, to be honest with you, it don't matter. Clearly, California's economy peaked right on target, and ever since, there has been a steady migration of residents out of the state. Meanwhile, Governor Jerry Brown has been more concerned about bucking the trend with Trump, effectively threatening treason against the Constitution. The insolvency at CalPERS has exceeded $100,000. Get ready. $100,000 owed by every private citizen in California to the government employees. You think our national debt's bad? Oh, how much is each citizen? Oh, yeah, that's fine, but that's the whole country. Okay. Each person in California, each living soul in California, you owe essentially $100,000 to pay. Let me check this email from Cliff High real quick. Anyways, yeah, his webbot should be out 8th. Robot report. I'm dying. I am dying. Cliff, please give me this early, please. If it comes out, he always gives it to me and Biggs. I'm just dying to see what's in this thing. You know what I mean? He's been so great, accurate with these things. Anyways, $100,000. Now he says it was $93,000 that every Californian owed back in 2016 for their state employees. So you owe now $100,000 a couple years later. In January 2017, Jerry Brown wanted a 42% increase in gas taxes to bail out CalPERS. California is an extremely liberal state, as you know, but that means they are also liberal in spending the future earning of residents on public employees. It's my pension and I need it now. No problem. We'll stick it to the taxpayer. Don't worry about it. The pension crisis at CalPERS is getting worse by the day. The state looks to be totally bankrupt. Get this. This is according to him. By 2021-2022, CalPERS has just decided to increase the contribution of local governments and cities to their fund. The cities say they are approaching bankruptcy because of rising subsidies. But CalPERS itself is approaching insolvency. The problem is that there really is no honest reform in sight. The choice is clear. Cut pension benefits of government employees or raise taxes. And when he says raise taxes, remember, each citizen owes $100K right now in order to make CalPERS whole, I guess. Do you have any idea how much they'll have to raise taxes? Only two choices. Pensioners, you're getting a cut. My pension and I need it. Was Snip4 is over here free of charge on YouTube trying to tell people, get that money, get it as fast as you can, throw it into cryptos, throw it into something else. Anything else, really, to be honest with you. But throw it into cryptos. And you'll get all of it back. Even if you took a haircut, you're going to get it all back. You'll get it all back because of how cryptos work. Or at least how they have been working. And I don't see why they won't continue doing that, by the way. CalPERS simply needs a bailout and very soon. It looks like they are hunting for ways to tax whatever they can for now. Looks like they are hunting for ways to tax whatever they can for it now. Only now about state employees getting their piece of your future income. This is a trend that will bring down Western society as a whole. The sovereign debt crisis of untold proportions, says Martin Armstrong. This is the guy, he had the economic model, confidence model. The government wanted it from him badly years ago. He wouldn't give it up. He wouldn't tell him how it worked. He wouldn't give him the secret sauce, if you will. Next thing you know, he'd find himself in jail, which, by the way, the attorney general at the time, or one of the district attorneys, was none other than James Comey, early 2000s. Go look it up. Imagine that. Board member Steve Wesley even told the Mercury News that a bailout was needed and soon. He links to the Mercury News website to show here. Here's where he said it. And this was posted back in the middle of last year. That a bailout was needed and soon. Currently, CalPERS manages approximately $350 billion of future pension claims of its members. Recently, CalPERS passed an amendment to the statutes, which resulted in higher contributions for the California municipalities. The amount of contributions has been increased several times over the past few years. And this time, the cities do not appear to be able to handle the increased costs. You know, and what the cities do, you need a driver's license? Up the ante. Oh, you need to up the bill. It gets passed on to the schmuck taxpayer, as usual. With the Trump tax reform, the real incompetence of local government is coming to a head. Once CalPERS was 100% funded with assets under management. In fact, they had a surplus in the good old days before quantitative easing. Right now, the system no longer has more than 2/3 of future claims covered. CalPERS itself expects an annual return of 7% on its financial investments when it actually needs 8% minimum. Most pension funds run by the states are insolvent or on the brink of financial disaster. This is what I have been warning about, that the quantitative easing set the stage for the next crisis, the pension crisis. The Illinois pension fund needs to borrow up to $107 billion to meet its payment obligations with no prayer of repayment. Promises to state employees are over the top and off the charts. This is why Janet Yellen at the Fed kept trying to raise rates, saying that interest rates had to be normalized, for this was the crisis she knew was coming. And guess what? Europe is even worse, and Mario Draghi will not raise rates for fear that the government will be unable to fund themselves. The ECB is creating a vast European pension crisis while trying to keep member state governments on life support. It has purchased 40% of all sovereign debt and appears trapped and cannot reverse this process. The choice is pensions collapse or state collapse. There is no way out of this crisis. The portfolio would have to be completely restructured and benefits reduced. Jerry Brown will do everything in his power to raise taxes and fees to try to hold CalPERS together. That is by no means a long-term solution. If you can transfer to one of these 7 states without a non-income tax state, I guess he's saying, do it now before it's too late. And I happen to know a state that doesn't collect those kind of taxes. Florida. Ain't no income tax here. Nope, just federal. Florida. Pablo, honey. Pablo, please come to Florida. Okay? Get out of town before you cannot sell property anymore is what he says. Imagine what that can happen. Everything's fine. Well, I could get a couple bucks at my house. We'll just sell the house whenever if we really needed to move. And then you really need to move and you can't sell the freaking house because everybody else is in a panic, just like you. Pension system causes a collapse over there. We got to get out. And then you're stuck. What's going to happen? Housing crisis 2.0. People walk from their houses again. Foreclosures bring the prices down. Rinse and repeat what we already saw, what we've been preparing for, you and I, for all these years. Been talking about this stuff for a really long time. And I'm really, 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 really glad cryptocurrencies are here now. Joe, pay your freaking house off. You know what the psychic lady told me? Yeah, you got to get your foundation built first. And she says, getting out of all debt, that's a great foundation, even if you have only your house left. I'm like, I know, but I don't want to sell some too early. If I waited just even 2-3 more months right now, maybe it could be all the difference in the world where I don't have to sell off so many crypto to pay the house off. But I also don't want to be greedy like you talked about. I'm not trying to be greedy over here, but I just want to make it count. That's all. I want to make it count. And so that was kind of funny she mentioned that too. But anyways, yeah, man. This ain't going away. I've said this all these years. That debt, national debt, it ain't going away. It's only going to go higher. It will not come down. It never comes down. It only goes higher. And since it only goes higher, I have to ask again, why in the hell are we even paying taxes? If it's $20 trillion plus now, why are we even paying taxes? What do you need our tax money for? Just print it. When the taxes come along, you must print it. When Ben Bernanke takes a hike, Janet will print it. See ya.